What's up guys? What's up girls? Trading Farmer with a trading recap. Now if you don't know what a trading recap is, that's where I go back and I talk about my trades for the day and how much money I made. Today I made about $8,200 trading one stock, ATXI. It was one of the leading gappers in the entire US market, which is why I was watching it. Right out of the gates, it wasn't that strong, but pretty soon it started to move higher and higher and higher. Volume came in and it really started to pick up speed, and I was able to take some quick scalps and lock up some nice wins. And this is a perfect way to get out of the slump that we've been in September. And hopefully we see some continued momentum going into the end of September into October. And I'm really hoping for October to be a great month. So guys, stick around for this video. We're gonna talk about why I traded this stock, what I was seeing, what I was watching. We're gonna talk about some of the trades I took. Also guys, I'm working on a video where I talk about my strategy in a little bit more depth. It's not gonna be like an hour-long seminar, but it's just gonna be a great introduction to what I'm doing every day to make a living. So stick around, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, because you're not gonna wanna miss that video. I'm gonna be getting it posted tomorrow, maybe even Thursday. So stick around for that video later this week. All right guys, let's get into today's trading recap. All right, let's get into it. So starting from the beginning of the day with our gap scanner. Now our gap scanner shows us out of all the stocks in the markets, which one has moved up the most. And it starts with the top stock being the one that moved up. Now this top one, KPRX, shows 3,000%. That's because it was a recent reverse split. So that's a bit of an anomaly. But other than that, the price is good. It's between 2 and 20. The float was good. It was less than 40 million and the volume was good. So the first stock I was looking at and that I added to the list was KPRX. Now looking at the chart on KPRX, it wasn't that pretty. So I didn't spend too much time looking at it because there was a lot of dojis, a lot of candles where it didn't move at all. So it was sort of a stock that I knew was not going to do much. Now we had a little bit of an action on it, but basically stayed below VWAP. So that canceled out KPRX pretty quick. Now going down the list, and again, this is what I do every morning to find stocks. I pull up this scanner. It simply shows us the stocks that moved up the most in the entire US market. And I'm sorting it by criteria, $2 to $20 on the price, which is this column. Float, and I'll move it up so you guys can see. Float less than 40 million, which this is 29 million, it's checked out. And then volume here, less, well, not less than, but it has a good amount of volume, more than 100,000 shares traded. In this case, it has 1.6 million. Now going down the list, USOI, not in the price range that I trade, not a part of my strategy. $75 for SLVO. $140 for GLDI. So those stocks were off the list immediately, but we had ATXI. And now I pull this stock up, and the first thing I immediately look at, and let me pull this over here, is the daily chart. We're setting up to break through the 200 SMA and up and through these key levels of resistance here at 190 is about, let's see, look at the high here, 885. And before that, we were looking at 825. And so we were pushing those levels. And when you push key levels of support and resistance, the stock tends to want to break those levels. And in fact, we did break it, and we had a bit of a squeeze and a pinch up to almost $12. We got through 11. We didn't quite get up through up to 12. Now there's still a lot of time in the day, and I would not be surprised at all to see this thing continue higher. But as it is now, ATXI is a bit weaker right now, and there's no indication that we're going to get a huge spike up. But of course, anything could happen. And of course, we are grinding higher, but I do feel like we're forming a pretty big bear flag here, and this very well may flush. But let's go to the start of where I started trading it, which was right at the open. Now, right at the open, it was a bit choppy and it didn't look that strong. And I thought, here we go again, another stock getting pounded, right? We had a little pop up through the pre-market high here. It's at the pre-market high. Yeah, we had the pop through the pre-market high here up to about 590, but it quickly reversed and came down to VWAP. Now I'm like, all right, this thing's gonna break through VWAP. It's gonna be done, it's over. That's been the theme lately. But we did get this spike from 560 all the way back up almost to the high of 590. And I'm like, all right, wow, it popped up pretty quick and pretty strong. I'm like, oh, that's good. And I took a trade as it broke through 575 and it popped up to 590. I'm like, all right, let's catch the break up through the high of day. We didn't even get it. It comes all the way down and forms this huge topping tail on this 1 minute chart.
And I'm like, okay, this thing's coming down. We're breaking below the low. That's it. You know, it was just a fluke of a pop. And so I really had no profits. I was down maybe 250 on it. But it ends up holding this level at 560 and starts to curl. And this is where I get interested in it. And I end up punching an order at about 570 right in here, thinking, all right, it looked like we were going to break down here at 560, but we're not, and we're reversing. So that tells me that shorts are now in a losing position. And what happens is they get scared once the position and their trade starts going against them. Because we had this topping tail here and it looked like we should sell off. That's been the theme lately, but we didn't. So as it was curling up here, I punched at 570 for the break of 592. We get that break and we get that squeeze all the way through 6. I sell on the break of 6. I get filled like 610, but that was already an awesome trade. At that point, I'm up $800. I'm feeling it. I take this micro dip here on this 1 minute down to 608. I filled around 613, 614 wasn't the best fill, but we get this quick pop back up to the high of the previous candle, and we get that pop to 640. Then we get this doji candle up here, but I sort of had a feeling it would pop. I bought a little late around 643, but I was able to catch a quick spike again up about 10 cents up through that high there, but then that ended up pulling back. Okay, and then one of my bad trades was buying this red candle here. I bought it as it dropped here, thinking we'd get a quick pop back up. Did not happen, took a loss. Okay, so at this point I'm down. I'm not down, but I went to like up only 500. I had $800 after this, but I went down to 500. Sorry, this is blocking the way. Sorry, guys. Anyways, the best trade was buying right here on this move, and it dropped down here, but it immediately got bought back up. And there was a huge rush of green here, and it looked really strong. So I punched 5,000 shares here thinking, okay, this thing has the strength. We've proved it here. We have the volume here, huge green volume, smaller red volume here on the pullback. So I'm like, hey, this is it, you know, now or never, you know. And so I punched 5,400 shares, 2,700 shares twice, click. And it ends up working. It connected and it went quick too. It wasn't a stock I had to wait on. And that's the beauty of trading a stock like this. And this is what I've been waiting for, is that quick resolution. I think it took a few people by surprise because we continued even higher here. Yeah, it popped up here and I thought that was a great trade, you know, catching from 630 up to 670. I thought that was a great trade and I did make good profits. I was up, you know, maybe $2,000 at that point, but this thing had more in it. And I took another trade here after this. It was kind of similar to this trade here. See how we get this doji? Well, we got the same doji here and then it continued higher, except in this case, we did not come back down like this previous candle. We continued higher and that pinched a few shorts because boom, this thing took off, held. I believe it got halted, opened up at the halt. And this is where my sister, and she's going to do a recap here. She bought 1,000 shares on the open of the halt that opened, I think it opened up about 710 and it immediately squeezed to like 780. And she made 60 cents a share on 1,000 shares. And it was like a $600 winner like that. And it popped straight to the next halt level. And then from there, it just kept going and it opened up and then it got a little choppy here, and then I caught another trade even in this chop, because it was like, you know, it's not coming down. We have this topping tail just like we had here, that topping tail you'd think it would come down. A lot of people probably thought it would come down, but it held. And at that point I punched at 830, recognizing, hey, shorts are going to get pinched on this, that thought this was going to crash. And just as I expected, the volume came in and it just quickly popped to the halt level. And again, with another 2,700 shares from 850 all the way to 950 is nearly $1 a share. And boom, that brought me up to like 6,000. The next big trade that I had was catching this curl back up through high a day. I believe there was a halt somewhere. Maybe it was up here. It halted, but it opened flat or lower, and I bought that dip off that open, and immediately it ripped back up. I think it was here. So I picked up some more, not as much as I would have liked, up through the high day break here at 960. I caught this break buying about 920, anticipating that break. We got that break. I sold up here at around break of 10. And so we were catching some big trades. And the thing was, once it popped fast. And that was the beauty of the stock. And so from there, we had a nice pop up through here. It halted at 1030. But it then dropped down, and then I bought that drop and then caught this pop up through up to 1112. I think I sold at about 1080. So from about 1020 to 1080. I mean, the range on this was phenomenal. Plus the quick resolution. was really nice. My last trades were about right in here. I missed this pop here. I tried to time it on this red candle right there, missed it, then it popped, and I tried to buy too high, and of course it came down all the way down here, never really reclaimed that level, and so I lost a little bit there. Caught a couple of trades off the lows here, but nothing ever continued higher as I thought it might. And so now we're kind of in la chop zone here. Let's see where it's at. So, I mean, it's holding, we're dropping, and it's forming bottoming tails, which is a good sign. But I'm just afraid that looking at the volume profile here, it's just like the best trades are behind us at this point. The volume has completely died off, and we're a fraction of what it was on this initial move. And so, of course, I could trade here and try to squeak out some more money, but I don't think it's worth it. It's not worth it. So going back through, guys, how did I find the stock? Well, it was on the Gapper list today, sorted through KPRX, not enough volume. It was a recent reverse split. There wasn't enough, patterns to trade. These stocks were out of price. ATXI was of price. It was good. Yeah, GMBLP had no volume. Float was high. This was, a cheaper stock with a 50 million share float. That was no good. I did have EQ pulled up. That didn't do much. I did have ILAG pulled up. That didn't do much. So I had a couple other stocks. I don't even think I pulled up SJ, but I had ILAG, I had EQ. And the lower down you get on the list, the lower quality of stock, you really want to start from the top. Those are your A quality cuts of meat. And then you can work down to those lower number stocks. But the lower you go, the less interest it gets. And of course, all these stocks down here are way low on the list of interests. So, today ATXI was the stock to trade. I'm up not quite 8,200. My sister's up $700. I believe she actually wants to do a little bit of a recap. If you guys want to stick around to hear her squeal and talk about her day, I mean, she was just ecstatic making that big quick trade of $600. So I'm gonna go grab my sister and bring her in here.
Welcome. So today I traded ATXI like basically everybody else, and I did a bunch of trades, and I had like $130, I think. I had maybe 1,000 shares, I think. And then I went down to 500 because I was just like, obviously this is a really good pattern, but somehow I was still messing up. Anyways, then I was like, well, I want to go up to 2,000 shares. And then I got in after the halt, which I guess was risky.
You took 2,000 shares or 1,000?
I upped it to 2,000 after I was like, oh, this is going strong, and I wanted to maximize. And I wasn't happy with 130 because I was like, that's dumb. I should have gotten more. So to me, I was like, this isn't dumb. I guess Farmer said it wasn't too smart to get in right after halt. But I waited like 30 seconds, and I was like, I'm feeling good. So I got in, and then I made like $600. And then I quick got out. So, I mean, obviously I could have.
That was a good day.
It was a really good day. I got very lucky.
And you shut down quick. You didn't.
Yeah, I was done after that. I didn't want to mess that up. So obviously it went up, but like.
Yeah, I got a little choppy.
Yeah.
And it was all over the place, but overall, nice action.
Nice action. It wasn't very good in the beginning. Honestly, I woke up a little late. I wasn't really on the ball today. I wasn't really paying attention too much. I was on the wrong stock, first of all. Wrong one was pulled up. I'm like, man, nothing's going on. I think he said ATXI. Oh, I thought you did. And then I was like, hot dog! And then boom.
Okay. Anyways, that's her recap. Solid day. Perfect slump buster for the day. For the month, actually, as you can see here, I had a small red day yesterday, which was totally avoidable, but I'm not going to go on and on about it. But it's relatively small. But, I had $1,000 yesterday, lost it, and it's just a lot of regret. But, solid rebound. I think this is one of my biggest days I've had since May 31st. Well, let's see here. Yeah, this is the biggest day I've had since May 31st, and only $20, $10, $11 off of that level. So it's one of my biggest days ever of the year here today, and a bit surprising at that. So guys, if you enjoyed this recap, hopefully you did. Hopefully you learned something. Drop a like, subscribe. Again, we're gonna have a video coming out soon about my strategy, and we'll talk about and I talked about it a little bit today. We're gonna talk about the stocks I'm looking for, the stocks I'm focused in on today, ATXI. And, hopefully we see some more stocks like this in the future. We'll see. With that said, guys, take it easy, and I'll see you in the next video.